B.I.T.C.H. And yes, that is an acronym, and that's exactly what it's called. It is your boy Icon with a DC animated TV review going over that Harley Quinn. And this show definitely started off really good. It's like the breath of fresh air that you need, where you could just take your brain out of your body, put it to the side, and just veg out over some ridiculous but entertaining shit. So in this particular episode, we find out what the trigger is. It is Talia al Ghul, because Talia, she came to Gotham. And then she ended up telling everybody, she told the Bat family, she said that Bruce Wayne, when we were in our entanglement of love, she said that he basically appointed her the head of he gave her some important position in Wayne Enterprises, like a dumbass. And now that the stock prices have tanked and he's in jail, it's her responsibility to step in and fix things. So now she's running Wayne Enterprises while Bruce is in jail. And then she specifically said, she goes, now that I'm in charge, she's like, all your bat bullshit will cease and desist. And then she looked at Alfred and said that I would be making some changes very quickly. So she's going to clean house on the Bat family. The Bat family actually had to read Harley the Riot Act, because they had to explain to her that they don't kill. And they showed her all the no-kill signs posted up all over the place. And because of that, Barbara did say, she was like, that's our fault because we didn't properly train you. And because we didn't properly train you, they put her in the training session from the bottom, so now she got to work her way up to the top. And starting from the bottom is basically being Alfred's assistant. So Alfred is teaching her how to make teas, teaching her how to fold towels, and how to clean cups, and just I don't know what they do. And then Harley's getting upset because she's like, I joined the Bat team so I can crack skulls and fight crime. She's like, I didn't join it so I can make fucking biscuits and shit. And she's getting a little frustrated, and she's more upset about Talia al Ghul because Talia's not doing anything about it, and she's just letting everything play out the way it's supposed to play out. But she is building a relationship with Alfred, which actually does mean something. Meanwhile, on the villain side of things, Poison Ivy, she has her minions of the Legion of Doom carrying out her evil desires. And while she's in the midst of being a boss bitch, she ends up getting an invitation to the Powerful Women's Club Society thing. It's basically a group of women that have etched their way into man's world, and they've achieved status in high society. They get together once a month basically just to tell themselves that they did a great job. And they've invited Poison Ivy because she's the first female CEO of the Legion of Doom. Now, because of this, Talia al Ghul, she's also on that board. So when Poison Ivy went to the meeting, when she went to the group meeting with everybody, Talia al Ghul dropped out of the sky, and then the woman that's in charge of the whole organization, she's just like, oh, everybody, it's Talia al Ghul, who hasn't been to a single meeting in over a decade, and she missed all our events and everything. And she's like, yes, because I'm too busy overthrowing the government. Now, Poison Ivy's whole thing is, and she actually had a very decent plan. Poison Ivy's plan was she was going to get rid of all the male trees in Gotham and replace them with female trees. The difference between male trees and female trees is that male trees apparently produce pollen that causes allergies and makes people sick, and female trees produce things like fruit. So Poison Ivy's whole thing is, she said that Wayne Enterprises, they do experiments on baby trees to come up with medicine for people who have allergies and certain ailments. But what Poison Ivy said was, what we're going to do is, if we replace all the male trees with female trees, then we're not going to need the Wayne medicine, because the people of Gotham won't get sick. They won't have allergies. They won't have reactions. They won't have pollen things, because those trees will no longer exist. And then there'd be no reason to have the Wayne Enterprises medicine division, and then that division's going to plummet, and they're going to go out of business now because nobody's going to need them anymore. So that was the plan. And I was like, well, shit, that's... And it's one of those things where when you pause for a moment, you're just like, well, why don't we just plant more female trees? And if that's the case, why do I don't know. But anyway, so so she's there, she's talking to Talia al Ghul, and she's just like, oh yes, darling. She was just like, you and I can become best friends or whatever. And then she said that, but the problem is she's having issues with the Joker, because since the Joker's the mayor, she needs tree removing permits, and the Joker doesn't want to approve her permits, because when Poison Ivy and the Joker did an interview about her planting female trees and getting rid of male trees, the Joker was just like, well, he said that I support this because who doesn't love a good piece of fruit? And if the citizens of Gotham can get more fruit, I'm all for it. But then he says this on live TV. He goes, but because you work for the Legion of Doom, yes, I'm going to approve your tree planting permits, but I know there's an evil twist behind it. So tell me the evil plan that you have. He's like, what's the evil catch to this whole tree planting thing? And then my whole thing is, why would she tell you that on live TV? Like, why would she tell you that online? Like, the camera's in her face, the microphone, and then the reporter, she was just like, yeah, girl. She was like, yo, what's the evil twist plot? And then she was just like, there is no evil twist plot. We're just planting trees and everything. Then Joker got all pissy and like walked away. So now, because of that, like, Poison Ivy couldn't get the permit she needed to remove, like the male trees. So then, like, she got the permit to plant female trees, but not to remove the male ones. So then she was talking to Talia al Ghul, and she's just like, I don't know what to do. And then she's just like, darling, she was like, Joker has a very fragile ego. She was like, just give him a little bit, and then that's all you need to, So she ends up hitting up the Joker. The two of them go to a basketball game together, and then she says to the Joker, she's just like, well, I need you to. She was like, can you sign my permit so we can do the tree thing? He was just like, well, not if I don't know what the evil twist is. And then she was just like, well, I can't really give you all the details, but she said that on Wednesday. And he was like, oh, so your plans are going down on Wednesday? He's like, fine. He's like, I'll give you the permits, and I'll just pretend like I don't know what's going on Wednesday when your evil plans go down. So that was it. And then Joker even said when he signed the thing, he was just like, it feels good to be back in the game again. Like, he just wanted to be a part of the mix. Like, she could have lied, and she could have told him a lie, and like he wouldn't have cared as long as he felt like he was a part of something. So they signed the permits. The problem with signing the permits is now that she has the license, she basically got rid of all the male trees in Gotham. And this is a funny moment because there was a moment where Talia al Ghul, she was in a store because she was trying to buy something. She was trying to buy a pacifier for Damien because the last time she saw him, he was in diapers. So she's in a store that actually has Wayne Tech medicine that goes through it. And then when they got rid of all the male trees in the city, the girl at the counter, she suffered from allergies. And once they got rid of the last male tree, the girl behind the counter was just like, oh my God, I can breathe again. She was like, she said, it feels good to be me again. She's like, no more allergies, no more pollen. And then because of that, the store said, well, if that's the case, we don't need this Wayne medicine anymore. And then they dumped all the Wayne medicine. And then Talia was just like, oh my gosh. She's like, this bitch has tanked my business. So then Talia goes to Poison Ivy, and she's just like, bitch, you sabotaged me. And then she's just like, I actually have respect for you, darling. And then Poison Ivy was like, oh shit. And then she was just like, it's finally nice to meet somebody who appears to be on my level as far as like villainy is concerned. So the two of them are actually becoming friends. Ivy talked to Harley about it, and then Harley was just like, you're working with Talia al Ghul, the bitch that won't let me do anything on the Bat team. So that's going to be a conflict of interest because I can see Talia and I can see Ivy actually becoming friends and that being a threat to Harley. How big of a threat to Harley is, we don't know. And speaking of Harley, her and Alfred, they actually bonded together. They had a nice little conversation, and then the two of them went on the town to run some of Alfred's errands. So they pull up at a bank, and then Alfred goes into the bank, and he's just like, oh, I'll be right back, love, and then blah, blah, blah. Now, earlier in the episode, Alfred was the one that told Harley during their conversation, he was just like, oh, you just need to be a bitch. And then she was like, I was already being a bitch, and that's when they put me on the bench. And he was like, no, not like that. He was like, it's an acronym. It stands for, like, be alert, identify the problem, like do something, and then haul ass or something. It was an acronym that stood for actual stuff. And then when Harley was in front of the bank waiting for Alfred to come out, she thought about the acronym bitch that Alfred told her, and then she put two and two together, and she was just like, shit, Alfred's robbing this bank. So she goes into the bank and she stops Alfred from robbing the bank. She calls the Bat family. The Bat family takes Alfred, and the Bat family took him to jail way too quickly. I was just like, you're not even mad or like hurt or whatever. They're just like, it wasn't like Alfred say it ain't so. They're just like, damn, Alfred, you got caught slipping. And then like they just locked him up with like no remorse. And then, Barbara was just like, those were good instincts, Harley, and you're back on the team. Alfred's problem was he got arrested on purpose because he knew Talia was going to fire him. And he figured if he does a crime, he'll get put in the same prison with Bruce, and then he can go back to being Bruce Wayne's butler. But they're just like, no, because you're not rich and you don't have a rich portfolio, you get sent to New Arkham, where we're going to do extensive mental reevaluation, and that's actually going to be entertaining to see Alfred go through that shit. That's how the episode ended, and thank you for tuning in. So, nice little twist with Alfred. I actually thought that was really funny. And then again, I'm interested because Harley's back on the Bat team now, so that didn't last very long. But now that Talia's in the mix and Talia and Ivy are kind of like frenemies or whatever, that's going to be, because there's going to be a conflict. I feel like there's going to be a conflict now at the end of the season where Ivy, Harley, and Talia end up having like this 3-person standoff or whatever, because she's not going to take that company shit lightly. So we'll see what happens, but share your questions, comments, and concerns. What did you think about episode 2 of Harley Quinn? What did you think about the B.I.T.C.H? And let me know your questions, and we'll continue to talk about it. Check me out on social media, because I don't know what we're calling social media apps these days, because they're always changing. Check out my other reviews, because again, Marvel's Secret Invasion finale is up on my channel. We have Warrior up on my channel as well, and My Adventures of Superman. So until next time, guys, take care. Don't be a B.I.T.C.H or be a B.I.T.C.H. Until next week, take care. And we're out this. Yeah.